The internet has been set ablaze lately with all of the back and forth about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. And this issue has been talked about at length by some very intelligent people with much bigger platforms than this one. I'm not here to necessarily unveil anything that's brand new to you or to rehash any of the points that they've gone over. They made excellent points in their own right. I'm here simply to echo what the standards are when it comes to higher education institutions, as well as transcripts, what it means to hold a degree and have a title, and also financial aid and tuition. And I think that this issue is an important one to bring up because I believe that higher education, like so many other industries, is a predatory one where if you don't know exactly what you're getting into, what you're signing up for, you could be strapped to mountains and mountains of debt that even passes down to your children if you're not careful. But first, my name is Antoinette Chanel, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this ain't your first rodeo. I'm speaking today as someone with experience both attending higher education institutions as well as teaching and working for higher education institutions. So this includes career colleges, community colleges, and universities. And the very first order of business is that I want to show you that I actually can speak on this issue by showing you my credentials. So here they are. I don't have them on the walls right now. And this one actually has my maiden name on it. This is my bachelor's in literature and writing with a minor in communication that I got from Cal State San Marcos. I hope that this is focusing and you can see it, but this is a legit credential. After I got my bachelor's in lit writing with the minor in comm, I went on to National University. Now, I've covered up my last name here just because I don't need you people harassing me in my private life knowing my full name like that. But as you can see here, this was for my Master's of Arts in English. This degree conferred in April of 2011 after I finished my master thesis. And then I also got an MBA from Independence University. Now, let's see. I don't think it has my conferral date, or actually, yes, it does. February 2016. So my conferral dates are on here. And I was actually an employee of Independence University, so that's why I pursued this MBA. It was of no cost to me, and I was able to do that while also continuing to work full time. So now that we've got that out of the way, I want to jump into some of the comments that Dr. Bryant was making that inspired me to make this video in the first place. And again, like I said, I'm not going to unveil anything brand new to you in this video that you probably haven't already heard from people like Cam James, from Young Dawn, from Olay and Friends, and several others who have spoken about this, including actual licensed therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, people who actually have the credentials that she is claiming to have. And so to address this fully, I think I'd like to first talk about the comments that Dr. Bryant made while she was appearing on The Breakfast Club. And so for that, I'm going to listen a little bit and then I will follow up with my comments with regard to everything that she has to say.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
Mm-hmm.
How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here.
So Lauren LaRosa from The Breakfast Club asks her, why is it that we can't clarify your degree? What do you want to say about this? People have questions about it because they're trying to verify that you have a doctorate.
I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit. Because I don't give a fuck.
So here we get a lot of spicy resistance from her where she is claiming that she seems annoyed that people keep asking her to verify this degree, which is a little odd to me because as you saw, I just went through my whole higher education academic history for you very plainly and easily. All I needed was my degrees themselves and a little bit of painter's tape to do so. It's not hard to prove when you have a degree. So for her to have so much resistance is suspicious.
To my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused.
I'm confused too, because it's very strange that an institution you attended that suddenly folded, went out of business, wouldn't have notified you in some way, because legally they are supposed to do so.
I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program.
I find it interesting that she is focusing on this idea that they were accredited when I went there, almost as if to insinuate that the institution might have deceived her, and just put a pin in that for later.
I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Where I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial.
Okay, so Dr. Bryant says that she contacted the third party that was holding the records for Argosy University. And when she did that, she was told that she had 2 years to retrieve her records from them, and that she was past her 2 years, therefore she couldn't get a copy of her transcripts. Also weird. Never heard of that before in my life, simply because, I mean, let's take my career. If you're somebody who teaches in higher education or continuing education, that means that for every job you're hired for, you have to provide transcripts to prove that you have the credentials to do so. You just saw my credentials. I have a master's in English, so that's what I taught. And so people are going to get jobs long into their careers. It's not just for 2 years after you graduate that you get a job, or that you're hiring or interviewing or anything like that. Like, there's that window of expiry just seems way too short and way too bogus.
Financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad.
Everyone's harping on the fact that she says doctoral, and I am too. It's doctoral, and if you were ever enrolled in a doctoral program, then somebody would have corrected you along the way, hearing you say that.
Program, and they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute.
Okay, so at about 1 minute and 56 seconds on this Breakfast Club interview with Miss Cheyenne Bryant, she says that when she contacted the university to let them know that she wanted to go work for a law school or something, I don't remember exactly what she said because it was BS. But the bottom line is, she says that they offered her money back for the program, and they said, if we return your money to you, that means that you will not get credit for any of the coursework that you have done while attending Argosy University. And this is where I really wanted to chime in, because this degree right here from Independence University, this is an institution that no longer exists. Yes, friends, I actually have experience working for some of these predatory institutions that like to promise people the moon and stars and then sign them up for a bachelor's degree that costs 3 times as much as a master's at a regular school. Now, I wasn't actually working for Independence University when they shut down, so I didn't get that first-hand glimpse at what everything looked like as the tower was falling. However, I am very familiar with what happened afterwards because I heard from my colleagues, my coworkers, as well as former students. The idea that the school would offer Miss Cheyenne Bryant an immediate refund without, I don't know, maybe going through a lawsuit first is very fishy to me. Most of these institutions don't even handle their financial aid themselves. That is outsourced oftentimes to third parties, which also deal with the federal government because the federal government is issuing the loans. So that means that even if they wanted to issue Miss Cheyenne Bryant a refund, they wouldn't have done it at the Argosy University level, the same Argosy University that she claims was shut down.
At this institute. So, do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no. because I didn't want to risk.
And I'm not sure why you wouldn't say yes to the refund in an instance like this. I keep saying it, Miss Cheyenne Bryant keeps describing the experience as they said to her, do you want your refund? You can get this refund, but then you're not going to get credit for any of the coursework that you've done. Why wouldn't you take the refund at that point? If this is what really happened, wouldn't that be the best case scenario for you to get your money back so that you can then use it to apply to a different school and pay tuition for those classes? Yeah, you're going to have to double back and redo your coursework, but at least this time the institution is open and they plan to stay open and they are a little bit more on the up and up than what you're claiming that Argosy University was offering you.
The chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation.
Okay, that's another point that is really strange as well. Cheyenne Bryant describes that she was able to log into her student portal and she was able to get most of her transcripts almost through dissertation. I don't really know what a statement like that means because it's either your transcript or no transcript. Now, in higher education, they do make a distinction if you're somebody who completes all of the coursework for a doctoral degree, but you don't do your dissertation. That actually carries a distinction called ABD, which stands for all but dissertation. It means you did the coursework, but you didn't do that final research paper that's like over 100 pages that has several chapters that you send in at specific times to your chair. But it's really strange. Like, how is it that you got almost all of your transcripts? I mean, your transcript will look different as you're attending school because each semester's coursework won't pop up there until the semester is finished. But that's not what she's talking about. She's talking about going back after the fact and getting almost all of her transcripts. And I just don't understand what that means exactly. It's either there's a transcript there because you were a student or there is no transcript. Your degree can either be a doctorate that has been conferred and issued by the institution, or it's an ABD all but dissertation degree, but there's no such thing as partial transcripts. Never heard of that before.
But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just in general.
They are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless.
No, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me, it's...
Okay, so she's talking about reaching out to a third party in order to get her transcripts, which I have experience with after attending National University, because National University, I think, it might be the same. It's been a while since I've had to reach out for them for a transcript, but I think they use the same service that Argosy does, which is parchment. When it comes to records and keeping track of things as far as a student's high school transcripts that show that they attended and graduated from high school, so that means that they are eligible for admission to the college or university. When it comes to keeping hold of, some schools might ask you to take an attendance record. So keeping hold of attendance records, sometimes those can be used in court cases to prove whether or not a person was present at a certain location at a certain time. So that's why it's a really good idea to make sure that you always take attendance and do it accurately if you are an educator. But when it comes to all of these records, those things are housed by someone called the registrar at your university. And every registrar that I've ever had to work with had records that went back at least 10 years. So I find it very hard to believe if a third party is only retaining these records for a 2-year period and then they don't have them anymore. They're not passing them off to maybe a fourth party person that's then holding on to them, just 2 years and that's it. Seems so brief. And it also seems like something that you would say if you're not familiar with how higher education works. If you don't know how transfers and transcripts and audits at the higher education level work. You're going to say something like this, of course.
Any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't, how can I say it? It doesn't affect me because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist. I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and all I have to do is study.
Okay, so at this point of the interview, Miss Bryant is explaining what she would have to do in order to obtain licensure. She called it licensure, and I'm sorry, I'm really getting tripped up on her mispronunciation of words that should come very easily for her if she's actually who she says she is. But she speaks about the process for licensure, and lots of other people have covered this as well. Licensure is not so that you can bill insurance in any capacity, whether you are an acupuncturist or a therapist or an anesthesiologist, in which case I would hope that the hospital or medical institution you're working for has vetted you well enough to know that you actually have this qualification. But in any of those capacities, the purpose of the license is to make sure that you are abiding by the standards that you took an oath, most likely when you became licensed, to abide by. And if you're not abiding by that, any of your patients or people who have been hurt by your advice can retaliate against you for that. That is the point. And so I hear people talking about, well, who cares if she doesn't have a doctorate? She's been very effective. She has good things to say. I love listening to her. And that's great. But did she have to say that she was a doctor in order to give out this advice, in order to call out Cam Newton on his BS, in order to tell Nick Cannon that he was being reckless in creating all of these broken homes? Did she have to have a doctorate to do that? Because I see plenty of people across the internet who do that all the time, and they don't claim to be any expert in anything. They just know mess when they see it. And so in that way, I feel like this issue with Miss Bryant speaks to a larger one that is happening within the Black community, but also happening within the world in general. We have people who are eager for advice and guidance, and they're looking towards the internet for it because the internet is still known as a place where you can get lots and lots of information. The information superhighway for all my millennials out there who are watching. But the problem is that we also have very predatory people out here who just want to grift. Think about people like Cesar Pena, someone else who also came through the Breakfast Club. His credential has been verified, but think about Dr. Umar. I mean, he is a doctor. I think that they were able to verify in multiple places what his credential was and the fact that he did earn that degree. But where is the school? What happened to the school that he was supposed to be opening for little Black boys? It's still not open yet, and people have been steadily donating. And he continues to ask for donations.
Donations. Donations, donations, gifts, gifts, gifts.
I think it's really easy for people to get lulled in by someone who is speaking in an informed tone, by someone who is dressed really nicely and presents well. Miss Bryant is gorgeous. Every time I see her, she looks beautiful. She's very well put together. I don't know if she's doing her own hair and makeup herself. She probably has a team by now, but she definitely presents very, very nicely. And in that way, she brands nicely as well. But in the same way that televangelists vacuumed people's money out of their pockets from their television sets in the 80s, you can't get too caught up in the glitz and the glam and forget to check for the actual true credentials that mean something, that make a difference. And now this isn't to say that anybody who is trusted or who is seen as a leader or an expert has to have just tons of education to their name, lots of certifications, lots of plaques on the wall. I don't believe that at all. I am somebody who has attended school quite a bit, taught there as well, and I say wholeheartedly with my full chest, college isn't the only way forward. But if you're going to trust someone with real estate investment advice, things that require large lump sums of money that took you time to earn, if you are going to trust someone with your medical advice with how you treat your body, with how you respond to infectious diseases, etc. If you're going to trust someone with how you are caring for your family, the types of foods that you choose to feed your family, and how you care for your garden, for instance, as you are growing this food, those people need to be trusted individuals. Otherwise, you should not be listening to them, and you definitely should not be following after them. That is dangerous. It is never wrong to ask questions. If anything, all you're doing is delaying whatever process by like a couple of minutes with every question that you ask. There's nothing wrong with that. And anybody who has integrity, who is on the up and up and isn't trying to deceive you, will not be unnerved by your request for their patience. You always want to be wary of anybody who doesn't want to let you have the night to think about it, or go talk to your friend or spouse or parent or whoever it is that you trust to show that contract to and see, like, is this okay? Or to run that idea by about this side hustle that you're thinking of starting, or this new business that you want to invest in. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being a critical thinker, especially when it comes to your time, your money, your investments of any sort. And the mark of a true grifter is someone who can't wait. They want everything now. They want to rush through it. And that's what I'm seeing when I look at Miss Cheyenne Bryant in these interviews. She is very eager to move on from the prove to us that you actually are a doctor question, which is odd. If I was a doctor, I'd want to show everybody that, yay, yeah, check it out. This is my story and this is how I did it, because I'd be proud of myself the same way I'm proud of my current accomplishments that I've already showed you. It will be interesting to see how all of this ends up for her, but in the meantime, let's just keep watchful eyes. And also, do our research and look some stuff up before we go running with it. Those are my thoughts.